Hi, today we're going to be doing some Chicago style pizza. And for those of you who don't know, Chicago style pizza is this decadent, deep dish kind of pizza where you use cornmeal in the crust, so it's kind of like a cornbread, and then you put cheese in the bottom of the pizza, and then you have this like 2-inch crust on either side. It's really decadent. And I love this stuff. I grew up just north of Chicago eating at places like Gino's Yeast and Uno's Pizzeria, and they have excellent Chicago style pizza. But it's also a pizza that can be somewhat controversial sometimes, particularly for people who are from New York. One of my favorite Chicago style pizza memories actually is Jon Stewart from The Daily Show delivering this epic rant against Chicago style pizza, saying it's not pizza, it's casserole. He called it a pizza in defiance of man, God, and all things holy. And then he finished off this rant by saying, when I look at this pizza, I don't know whether to eat it or make a wish and throw a quarter in the deep end. Well, I don't know. I like this. So I've listed all of the ingredients and the directions for you in the description to the YouTube video here. Special equipment, the most important thing is that you need a springform pan, because just like if you're baking a cake, you'll do these nice kind of high sides for your bake for about 45 minutes, and then when it's all done, you'll just pop it out of its shell and your pizza's ready to go. Like my other video, I'm gonna knead this by hand, but you can certainly use a stand mixer. If you have a lower capacity stand mixer like mine, you probably have to do 1 dough ball at a time instead of 2, because the bowl will literally go flying off the stand if you're not careful, and you load too much dough in there. Other things, I think that with Chicago style pizza, the most important thing that I'm keeping in mind as I'm making this is I'm watching how much water and how much moisture is inside of my pizza. And the reason for that is that if you get too much moisture inside this pizza, it'll become just this kind of sloppy mess, you know, and everything will kind of soak through your crust, and it'll still be delicious, but it won't be kind of appetizing to look at. It'll be tough to eat. So some things that I do to manage those moisture levels include, I use a little bit more dough than some of the other recipes that you might see. And the reason for that is that I want a nice kind of crispy and fluffy crust at the bottom as well as on the sides. I use a little bit less cheese. I know, it's sad. But some of these recipes that you'll see will call for a full pound of cheese in a 10 to 12 inch pizza. And to me, that just seems crazy. My experience has shown me that when you have that much cheese in a pizza, it won't cook fully through, and so the cheese releases a lot of water. So going about 1/2 to 2/3 of a pound of cheese for this size pizza will give you a much nicer, kind of more even cook. And then the last thing that I always make sure to do is that whenever I put any kind of vegetable in this kind of pizza, I cook out some of the water just by kind of gently sauteing it in a pan, so that water doesn't release right down into my pizza. And so I think that's all I have for opening notes. So why don't we get started, all right?